My son-in-law didn't shed a single tear at my daughter's funeral. 2 days later, he listed her car for sale online with the caption, "Moving on, fresh start." That same evening, I found a letter hidden inside my daughter's old jewelry box. It read, "Dad, I'm alive. Don't trust Roderick. Meet me at the lake house. Tell no one. I'm Preston Hartley, 62 years old, been building houses my whole life in Richmond, Virginia. 40 years as a construction foreman, managing crews, solving problems, making sure things got done right. I thought I knew how to spot trouble before it became a real mess, but I never saw what was happening right under my nose with my own family. Melody was my only child. Her mother passed when she was 11 minus breast cancer that took her fast, just 8 months from diagnosis to the end. I raised Melody by myself after that. Wasn't easy, juggling job sites with school pickup, burning dinner more nights than I care to admit, but we made it work. She turned out better than I ever hoped. Graduated top of her class, started her own interior design business by 27, built it into something worth over $600,000 by the time she was 30. Then she married Roderick Whitfield. I should have trusted my gut about that guy from day one. He was smooth, I'll give him that. Perfect hair, perfect smile, always knew exactly what to say. Worked as an insurance agent, drove a company car that cost more than my old pickup, and had this way of making everyone in the room feel like they were the most important person he'd ever met. Melody fell for it hard. They got married 4 years ago in some fancy ceremony that cost more than I made in 6 months. Roderick insisted on everything, the venue, the catering, the photographer, all top shelf. Melody's business was doing well, but the way Roderick spent money worried me. He bought a house in the Fan District without asking her opinion, put a down payment on a boat they used maybe twice, renovated a perfectly good kitchen just because he didn't like the cabinets. When I mentioned it to Melody, she laughed it off. "He just likes nice things, Dad. We can afford it." But I noticed she was working longer hours, taking on more clients, looking tired every time I saw her for our Sunday dinners. The dark circles under her eyes kept getting worse. She was losing weight she didn't need to lose. When I asked if she was feeling all right, she'd wave me off with that stubborn smile she got from her mother. The neighborhood started talking too. Mrs. Jacqueline Foster, who lived next door to them, mentioned to me after church one Sunday that Melody seemed under the weather a lot lately. "Always rushing off to doctor appointments," she said. "Hope it's nothing serious." I made a mental note to ask Melody about it, but she always changed the subject when I brought up her health. Then 6 weeks ago, Melody died. At least that's what I was told. Police said it was a single car accident on Route 33 outside Gordonsville. Wet roads, sharp curve. Her SUV went through the guardrail and down a 30-foot drop into the creek. The car caught fire before the emergency crew got there. They identified her through dental records because the fire had been too bad for anything else. I got the call at 11 p.m. from Roderick himself. His voice was flat, controlled, like he was reading the weather report. "Preston, there's been an accident. Melody didn't make it. No crying, no breaking down. Just facts delivered clean and simple, followed by 'I'll handle all the arrangements. You don't need to worry about anything.' I collapsed on my kitchen floor and stayed there until morning. The hardwood was cold against my cheek, but I couldn't bring myself to get up. My baby girl was gone and I hadn't protected her. 40 years of building houses, making sure every foundation was solid, every beam was straight, and I couldn't keep my own daughter safe. The funeral was Thursday at St. Luke's Episcopal. Beautiful service, I suppose, though I barely registered any of it. I remember the white lilies. Melody always loved those. I remember the stained glass throwing colored light across the closed casket. I remember giving the eulogy, my voice cracking when I talked about the little girl who used to sit at my workbench and draw house plans with crayons while I worked on blueprints. What I remember most clearly was Roderick. He sat in the front pew wearing a black suit that looked brand new. Not a wrinkle on it. Not a tear on his face. He shook hands and nodded at everyone who came up to him. "Thank you for coming." Melody would have appreciated it. Same phrase, over and over, like a recording. I watched him during the reception afterward while I could barely hold my coffee cup steady. Roderick moved through the crowd like he was at a business meeting. He laughed twice, I counted. Once with Melody's college friend Vivian Parker, once with his brother Quentin, who flew in from Denver. My daughter had been dead for 4 days, and her husband was laughing at her funeral. The whole neighborhood showed up. People from the construction sites I'd worked, guys I'd known for decades. They all came to pay their respects, but they kept looking at Roderick with the same confused expression I was fighting to hide. Nobody said anything, but you could feel it. Something wasn't right about the way this man was handling his wife's death. After the burial, after the last casserole got dropped off and the neighbors went home, I drove back to the cemetery alone. I sat on the ground next to the fresh dirt and talked to Melody the way I used to talk to her mother. I told her I was sorry. Sorry I hadn't seen what was wrong. Sorry I hadn't protected her better. Sorry I was 62 years old and still failing the people I loved most. 2 days passed. I barely ate, didn't answer the phone. My foreman instincts told me to stay busy, but I couldn't bring myself to pick up a hammer or even organize my workshop. I just sat in my living room surrounded by framed photos of Melody at every age, from the gap-toothed kindergartner to the confident businesswoman in her last Christmas picture. Then I made the mistake of checking my email. Among all the condolence messages was a notification from an online marketplace. Someone I followed had posted a new listing. I'd set up the account months back when Melody helped me sell some old tools, and I'd accidentally followed Roderick's profile in the process. The listing was for Melody's car, not the one that crashed, but her other car, the vintage 1967 Mustang that had been her pride and joy. The one her mother and I surprised her with for her 16th birthday. The one she'd restored herself in our garage over 2 summers, working beside me with grease under her fingernails and determination in her eyes. Roderick had listed it for $8,000 with 6 photos and a description that read, "Great condition, runs perfect. Moving on, fresh start, cash only. Moving on, fresh start." My daughter had been in the ground for 48 hours. I stared at that listing until my vision blurred. Then I clicked on Roderick's profile and felt my stomach drop. He'd posted 11 other items in the past 2 days. Melody's jewelry, her designer handbags, paintings she'd collected from local artists, even her drafting supplies listed as miscellaneous art stuff, make offer. He was selling off her life piece by piece, turning my daughter's existence into cash. Something cold settled in my chest. Not grief this time, something harder, more focused. I grabbed my jacket and drove to Melody's house in the Fan District. I still had the spare key she'd given me when they moved in, just in case, she'd said with a wink, the same way she used to ask for my help reaching things on high shelves when she was little. The house was dark when I got there. Roderick's car wasn't in the driveway. I let myself in and stood in the front hall, breathing in the faint smell of my daughter's perfume that still hung in the air. The house looked different, emptier. Spaces on the walls where paintings used to hang, gaps on shelves where her decorative pieces had been. It was like someone was systematically erasing her from the place she'd called home. I walked through the room slowly, my work boots heavy on the hardwood floors Melody had picked out herself. The living room still had her touch, the way she'd arranged the furniture, the throw pillows she'd made by hand, but personal items were missing. Picture frames that used to hold photos of us together, gone. Her collection of vintage teacups from the kitchen window, gone. Melody's home office, where she'd built her business from nothing into a $600,000 operation, had been completely cleared out. Her desk, her files, her computer, her design books, all gone. The room felt hollow, like walking into a house after the movers had taken everything but forgotten to turn off the lights. I went upstairs to the master bedroom, my hand gripping the banister. She'd refinished herself. The closet doors were open. Melody's side was empty. Every dress, every shoe, every scarf gone. The hangers hung there naked, still swaying slightly like ghosts. Roderick's side was untouched, his suits hanging in perfect rows, his shoes polished and aligned like soldiers on parade. That's when I noticed the jewelry box on the dresser. It was the only piece of Melody's that Roderick apparently hadn't thought worth selling. A small wooden box I'd made for her 12th birthday in my workshop. Nothing fancy, just pine with her initials carved into the lid, MH for Melody Hartley. It had no value to anyone but us, which probably explained why it was still sitting there while everything else got turned into quick cash. I picked it up, running my thumb over the initials I'd carved with such care all those years ago. The wood was smooth now, worn by years of her touching it the same way. Something shifted inside when I moved it. Not jewelry, paper. I opened the box and found a folded letter tucked under the velvet lining, hidden in a secret compartment I'd built into the bottom as a surprise. Melody had discovered it as a teenager and used it to hide notes from boys she didn't want me to see. I'd pretended not to know about it, enjoying the game of keeping her secrets safe. The letter was in Melody's handwriting, that same left-leaning script she'd had since grade school, when she used to help me mark measurements on lumber. My hands trembled as I unfolded it, and for a moment I was afraid to look, afraid it might be a goodbye note that would break me completely. Instead, it was 4 lines that changed everything. Dad, I'm alive. Don't trust Roderick. Meet me at the lake house. Tell no one. Destroy this letter after you read it. I love you. I'm sorry, I read it 7 times. Then I sat down on the floor of my dead daughter's empty bedroom and read it 7 more times. The hardwood was cold through my jeans, but I couldn't move, couldn't breathe properly, couldn't process what I was seeing. My daughter was alive. The lake house was a small cabin on Lake Anna about 90 minutes south of Richmond. Melody's mother and I bought it the year before she got sick, dreaming of summer weekends and maybe retirement someday. After she died, I couldn't bear to sell it, so I kept paying the taxes and visited a few times a year to make sure it was still standing. Melody used to go there when she needed to think, when the world got too loud and she needed to hear herself breathe. I drove there at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep anyway. The whole drive down, my mind kept spinning between hope and terror. What if this was some kind of cruel joke? What if I was losing my mind from grief? What if Roderick had somehow found out about the letter and was setting me up? But I had to know. I had to see for myself. The sun was just coming up over the water when I pulled into the gravel drive. The cabin looked the same as always, weathered cedar siding, screened porch, the old dock stretching into the lake like a wooden finger. But there was a light on inside, warm and yellow against the gray morning, and my daughter was sitting on the porch steps wrapped in a blanket waiting for me. She stood up when she saw my truck, and I could see her face clearly for the first time. She looked thinner than I remembered, and her dark hair was cut short to her jaw instead of the long waves she used to wear. But she was alive, breathing, standing there with tears streaming down her face. Dad, I couldn't speak. My legs carried me forward without conscious thought, and I wrapped my arms around her so tight I was afraid I might hurt her. She felt fragile, like she might disappear if I let go. So I didn't let go, not for a long time. You need to explain everything, I said, when I finally pulled back, holding her face in my hands to make sure she was real. Right now, she nodded and led me inside. The cabin was basic, but lived in sleeping bag on the couch, canned food stacked on the counter, a laptop computer on the kitchen table. She'd been here for a while, maybe weeks. Melody poured coffee with hands that shook almost as bad as mine. The smell was strong and comforting, the same brand we'd always kept at the cabin. Then she sat across from me at the small table and told me the truth that changed everything I thought I knew about my son-in-law. It started 18 months ago. She began feeling sick, nausea, fatigue, headaches that wouldn't quit, episodes of confusion and dizziness that scared her. She went to 3 different doctors. The first 2 ran standard tests, checked for stress, depression, overwork. Everything came back normal, which should have been good news but only made her feel more helpless. The third doctor, Vincent Cross, was a toxicologist at VCU Medical Center. Melody found him after doing her own research, desperate for answers. Dr. Cross ran a different kind of panel, testing for things most doctors never thought to check. What he found made her blood run cold. Thallium, she said, watching my face. It's a heavy metal, Dad, odorless, tasteless. Used to be common in rat poison before they banned it for home use. In small doses over time, it looks like chronic illness, fatigue, hair loss, nerve damage, organ problems. Most doctors wouldn't think to test for it because it's so rare. I felt the room start to spin. Someone was poisoning you. Roderick was poisoning me, she said, and her voice went flat and hard. Dr. Cross helped me figure out how. He was putting it in my morning smoothie every day for months. Just a little bit. Not enough to kill me quickly, but enough to make it look like I was getting sick from stress, working too hard, burning myself out. My hands clenched into fists on the table. Why? Melody's expression turned into something I'd never seen on her face before, pure cold anger mixed with hurt so deep it made my chest ache. Because I'm worth more dead than alive to him. Roderick took out 3 life insurance policies on me without my knowledge, one through his company for $300,000, 2 private policies for another $500,000, all purchased over the past 2 years, all with him as the sole beneficiary, $800,000. That was the price my son-in-law had put on my daughter's life. When Dr. Cross confirmed the thallium poisoning, I didn't know what to do, she continued. I was terrified I couldn't go to the police because Roderick would deny everything, and I had no proof of who was administering the poison. He could claim I was exposed somewhere else at work through contaminated materials, anything his word against mine, and he's very convincing. That was true. Roderick had always been smooth, always had the right answer for everything. Even I had believed him about loving Melody, about wanting what was best for her. So Dr. Cross and I came up with a different plan. He connected me with a former colleague at the FBI, Agent Celeste Brooks. She specializes in insurance fraud and domestic poisoning cases, and she'd been tracking a pattern of suspicious spousal deaths in the mid-Atlantic region. Melody opened the laptop and showed me a file with photos and documents, cases where healthy women married to men with significant life insurance policies had died of seemingly natural causes or accidents. The pattern was subtle but consistent. The women got sick first, then died within a year or 2. The husbands collected the insurance money and moved on. Roderick Whitfield's name was already on Agent Brooks's radar, Melody said, clicking to another screen. She told me that Roderick had been married before. His first wife, Adrienne, died 6 years ago in Portland, Oregon. officially ruled as complications from an autoimmune disorder that developed suddenly. She was 29 years old, and Roderick collected $400,000 in life insurance. I got up and made it to the kitchen sink just in time. My stomach emptied itself while my mind tried to process what I was hearing. The man I'd trusted with my daughter's life, the man I'd welcomed into my family, was a serial killer. How long have you known this? I asked when I came back to the table. 4 months. Agent Brooks confirmed it 2 weeks after Dr. Cross diagnosed the poisoning. Adrienne Whitfield showed the same symptoms I had: fatigue, confusion, gradual organ deterioration. But no one tested for thallium because no one suspected deliberate poisoning. Her family thought she just got sick and died. They had no idea. So the car accident was staged. Melody nodded. Agent Brooks helped me arrange everything. We needed Roderick to think I was really dead so he'd go through with filing the insurance claims. That's what would give us the evidence we needed for federal charges. She explained how they'd used a salvage vehicle matching her SUV, how Dr. Cross had handled the medical side of faking her death, how dental records had been substituted. As far as the world knew, Melody Hartley had died on Route 33 in a tragic accident. Why didn't you tell me? My voice cracked on the question. I stood over your grave, Melody. I threw dirt on your coffin. I gave your eulogy. Tears spilled down her cheeks because you had to believe it, Dad. You had to grieve for real. Roderick watches everyone closely. He monitored my phone, my email, even had me followed when I went to doctor appointments. If you'd known I was alive, he would have seen it on your face. You're a terrible liar, Dad. You always have been. She was right. I couldn't have faked that grief. The agony I'd felt standing in that cemetery had been genuine, and Roderick would have spotted a performance immediately. But now he's selling your things. I said, your car, your jewelry, he's erasing you. I know. Agent Brooks has been documenting everything. Every item he sells, every dollar he moves. It's all evidence. But he's also doing something that's going to destroy him. Melody clicked to another screen showing bank records and wire transfers. In the 5 weeks since her death, Roderick had been busy. He'd filed claims on all 3 insurance policies. He'd emptied their joint savings account, $120,000 transferred to a personal account in his name only. He'd listed the house for sale at $150,000 below market value for a quick closing, and he'd booked 2 first-class tickets to Lisbon, Portugal, departing in 3 weeks. 2 tickets? I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I already knew. Melody nodded grimly. The second ticket is for a woman named Sabrina Maxwell. She's a real estate agent at Century 21. They've been having an affair for at least a year. She has an apartment in Short Pump that Roderick's been paying for with money from my business accounts. She showed me photos that made my blood boil. Roderick and Sabrina at restaurants at a resort in Virginia Beach, walking through Carytown like they owned the world. The most recent photos were dated 4 days after my daughter's funeral. What she doesn't know, Melody continued, is that Roderick did the same thing to Adrienne. She thinks she's his partner in this new life. She doesn't realize she's probably his next victim. What happens now? I asked. Now we wait. Agent Brooks says we need Roderick to collect at least 1 insurance payout before they move. That's what turns it from attempted fraud into completed fraud, which carries a much heavier sentence. The first check should arrive this week, and then we bring him down. But I need your help, Dad. I need you to keep being the grieving father-in-law. Call Roderick to check on him. Visit my grave. Act normal. Don't let him suspect anything. I looked at my daughter, alive and asking me to have dinner conversation with the man who tried to murder her. I'll do whatever you need. The next 2 weeks were the hardest performance of my life. I called Roderick every few days, keeping my voice broken and lost. He always answered with that same concerned tone, playing the grieving widower to perfection. How are you holding up, Preston? Day by day. Some are harder than others. Melody would want you to take care of yourself. I had to bite my tongue until I tasted blood every time he said her name. During one call, I brought up the Mustang listing, keeping my voice confused and hurt. Roderick, I saw Melody's car is for sale online. That car meant everything to her. A pause. Then, smooth as silk, I know, Preston, and I'm sorry, but keeping it just reminds me of her every time I see it. My therapist said it's healthier to let go of material attachments. I hope you understand. Of course, you're probably right. I hung up and drove straight to the lake house, where Melody and I spent the evening documenting every lie he'd told. Agent Brooks called on a Tuesday evening with the update we'd been waiting for. The first insurance payout cleared this morning, she said over the speakerphone. $300,000 deposited into Roderick Whitfield's account. He transferred $80,000 to Sabrina Maxwell's account by noon. Melody's face went stone cold as we listened to the details. The other policies are processing. We expect at least 1 more payout this week. Once the second payment lands, we'll have enough for federal charges. The second payout landed on Friday, $500,000. Roderick celebrated by booking a suite at the Jefferson Hotel with Sabrina for the weekend. Agent Brooks had them under surveillance. He ordered champagne, Brooks told us during our evening briefing. 2 bottles. He toasted to new beginnings and fresh starts. Those same words from the car listing. His mantra for erasing my daughter's existence. We move Monday, Brooks continued. I have arrest warrants for both Roderick Whitfield and Sabrina Maxwell. Federal agents will take Roderick at his office. Local police will pick up Sabrina simultaneously. Monday morning arrived gray and cold. I drove Melody to the FBI field office, my hands gripping the steering wheel tight enough to leave marks. She looked calm, composed, ready to face the man who tried to kill her in a courtroom instead of letting him get away with it. Agent Brooks called at 9:22 a.m. Roderick Whitfield was arrested at his office at 9:15 without incident. Sabrina Maxwell is in custody. It's over. The arrest made the local news by noon and went national by evening. A Richmond man charged with insurance fraud and attempted murder after his supposedly dead wife was found alive. Portland authorities reopening a 6-year-old death investigation. The phone rang constantly with reporters, neighbors, friends who couldn't believe what they were hearing. When Portland exhumed Adrienne Whitfield's remains, they found exactly what Agent Brooks predicted, thallium still present in her bones after 6 years. Roderick was charged with first-degree murder in Oregon on top of the Virginia charges. The trial took months, but with Sabrina's cooperation, she provided recordings where Roderick discussed the insurance scheme. The outcome was never in doubt. Roderick got 22 years in Virginia and life without parole in Oregon. The judge called it one of the most calculated crimes she'd ever seen. Melody rebuilt her business from the lake house, starting small with referrals and growing it back into something strong. I moved to the lake permanently and converted the old shed into a proper workshop. We had dinner together every Sunday, cooking side by side in the cabin kitchen. 1 year after her supposed death, we visited the cemetery together. Her headstone was still there. Melody asked them to leave it as a reminder of what she'd survived. "Dad," she said as we walked back to the truck, "I've been thinking, the lake house is getting small, and I need to be closer to Richmond for business. What would you say to one last building project, a house on the lake big enough for both of us?" I looked at my daughter, alive and planning for a future, and felt something settle in my chest that had been broken for too long. "I think that sounds perfect." She grinned. "Good, because I already bought the lot next door. Some men think they can get away with murder. They think their charm and lies will protect them forever." Roderick Whitfield was one of those men. But he made one fatal mistake. He underestimated a daughter who refused to die quietly, and a father who knew how to build something strong enough to last. Sometimes the people who seem the most perfect are hiding the darkest secrets. Trust your gut when something feels off, even if you can't explain why. Evil counts on good people staying quiet and trusting too much. But when family stands together and fights smart, justice always finds a way.